Hello, I'm Teresa and welcome back to my channel today. Thank you for joining me if you're new, and if you're a regular, welcome back again. Today I'm going to be printing and I'm going to be mixing a couple of medias. I've done techniques using Brusho powders before on a gel plate, but I've not mixed them in with acrylic paints in the way that I'm doing today. My projects today, the backgrounds are inspired by the planets in the solar system. That's how I've chosen my colour schemes. And I'm going to be showing you how to create some of these abstract backgrounds using acrylic paint and Brusho Crystal Colours. Now, if you don't own Brushos, this will work with other powder type pigments, things like the Paper Artsy Infusions or Ken Oliver Colourburst powders. But for today, I'm using Brusho. That's what I have here. Now, I'm going to be creating backgrounds, and I'm going to show you a few finished projects where I've collaged on top to create some fun and funky card designs. So I'm going to clear these all out of the way, get set up with my gel plate, and I'll be back to show you how it's done. Today I'm working on my 4-inch round Gelli plate, this one, my Gelli Art gel printing plate. If you don't have a round plate, just use whatever plate you've got. If you want a circular design when you've finished, then either die cut or if you haven't got a die cutting machine, just draw around a sellotape reel or a small plate or a mug and cut out a circle. You will get the same finished effect. I feel this technique reminded me of the planets, so I've based my colourways on the planets in our solar system, and that's why I've chosen to work in a round design. It's just my train of thought where I've had my inspiration from for this particular project. I have my Brushos here, and I've got the full colour range of Brusho Crystal Colours here. I'm not entirely sure which ones I'm going to be using. I shall be working my way through as I go. And I've got some acrylic paints off to the side. All the paints I'm using today are the Deco Art Media Fluid Acrylics. And as I said, I've sort of taken a look at images of the planets, and I've jotted down some notes for colours that I want to use to represent each of them. Now, by no means, these are not going to be a photographic representation of each of the planets, but I've taken inspiration from the colours that there are, and I'm trying to work with those colourways in the projects that I'm doing today. As always, I've got a brayer. I'm using this Speedball brayer again. I'm quite liking this one. It's a little less squeaky than my Ranger one. I've got some water in a little spray bottle. I've got some paper off to the side that I can just clean any excess paint off my brayer. Some kitchen towel, paper towel for cleaning up. But basically that's it for now. That's what I've got. And I shall probably be showing a couple of ideas for finished projects at the end. So to begin with, I'm going to be applying some paint onto my plate. And I'm going to work through in no particular order. I'm not going in order of the solar system. But my first one, I'm going to be inspired by Saturn. And Saturn seems to me is sort of yellows and tans and browns. So I'm using Hansa Yellow Light and Yellow Oxide paint. And I shall bring in some sort of tan or brown Brusho as well. But to start with, I'm going to apply a little bit of paint directly to my plate. Don't need a lot, this is a small plate. And I'm just going to brayer that over the surface. Just take the excess off on my scrap of paper at the side, just to sort of clean my brayer a bit. And I'm going to choose some Brusho, and I think I'm going to go for, I have light brown here. Now these I have a little hole in the lid, just to sprinkle a bit out. Just a little bit there, we only need the tiniest amount. Also, I'm going to use a little tiny bit of this one, which is sandstone. If anybody's interested, the colour swatch stickers that I've got on the top, I will leave a little link to the shop where I bought those from. I find them really handy for identifying my pots once I've got them in this tub. So I have a little bit of Brusho on here, and I am going to add the smallest spritz of water. Now do not oversaturate this, so just a very light misting of some water, and then just sort of brayer in one direction. So I want to create a slightly striped effect. If you want to take a bit of the excess off your brayer, you can do. And to take that, this is just some smooth white card. And that's my print. And I really like this sort of subtle mottled effect that I've got there. So that's my Saturn. I'm going to quickly clean off my plate. And the next print I want to do is my representation of Neptune. And for those of you that have seen pictures of Neptune, that is always shown as blues and greens. I'm going to use cobalt teal hue and yellow green light for my blue and green acrylic paint. Trying to avoid any colour paints that are too dark, because I want the Brusho to be able to show as well. And if I started off with a very dark colour of paint, the sort of the effect that you get with the addition of the Brushos may not be so obvious. So I've sort of lifted the tone of the paint that I would perhaps have gone for at first choice, really. So there's our blue and green acrylic paint layer, and I'm going to choose, let me see, let's go for a deeper blue. So we'll go for ultramarine. And I think I'll choose sea green as well. And like before, quite a light amount of Brusho, a little goes a long way. Very light misting of water just to help activate. Take my piece of card. And pull off the print like so. And again, just love this mottled effect that we're getting. Once again, just going to clean the work area. Next up, I'm going to do Mars. And Mars is a pinky red colour. I'm choosing vermilion and quinacridone red paint here, just to blend in my background. that I've finished with my prints, my Brusho and acrylic prints, I want to add a little bit more detail. I want to make them look a little bit more planety, shall we say, shall we make up a word? And I'm just going to add some speckles of paint to them, just some splatters. And quite simply, I've got black and white acrylic here, and I've got a gold and a silver as well. I've got a fan brush, which I always find is quite good for doing splatters. And I'm just going to pop a little bit of the paint into my palette, thin it down with a little bit of water, just so that it's a bit easier to sort of to do the splattering. And add some random speckles to these prints. Now, if like me you've printed in a circle, you might want to protect around the printed area. So I've just cut out a 4-inch circle from a piece of scrap paper that I can just use to mask off that outer edge. And I've got my watered down paints in my palette here, and I can just put a bit of paint on and splatter just to give a little bit extra texture. So here are my finished backgrounds, inspired by the various planets in the solar system. It was a nice jumping point to choose some different colourways, things that I perhaps wouldn't have gone for ordinarily. Really happy with how these have dried. The speckles of paint just lift it, especially some of these with the metallic, so the light just catches and it just adds an extra dimension, really. So I'm going to go ahead and complete a few finished projects with these. I'm going to be using some Dylusions products. I think I've got some of the Dylusions collage sheets and some colouring sheets, so I think I might be doing something quite funky, make a couple of cards up. Don't think I'm going to use all of these backgrounds today, but I'll show you a couple of finished projects of what you could do with these backgrounds, and I'll be back to show you what I've created. And here are a few finished collaged cards that I've created. As I said before, I've used a couple of Dylusions products. I've used this pack of colouring sheets for the sentiments. They have some like borders in, but also these sentiments that you can cut out. So I've used a couple of those. And I've used the 2 packs of collage sheets, pack 1 and pack 2. 24 sheets in each, lots of different images, fun images, bright and colourful. So I've just cut a few of those out and glued them down. I've glued everything down just with like a glue stick, really quick and easy. And then I took a black and a white Posca paint pen just to add some doodled borders and things like that. So here was one with our red background. There's some gold speckles on, just collage some black and white and red images on that. That's nice and fun. The one with the grey background with some silver and black splatters on. Again, I really like the contrast of this lime green, so pop that on, doodled a border around the corners. This one here, which had the yellow toned background, gone for some colourful organic sort of floral shapes, and this little fun image of a girl with a pointy hat. Just doodled a dotted border around the edge to tie in with the border that's around these floral images. And finally, with this green background here, went for a nice contrast with the hot pink there. Just collaged this head and body image along with another one of the sentiments. And again, just a quick doodled border around the edge. Still got a few more backgrounds here that I can make a decision of what to do another time. Just going to pop those in my drawer. Again, I can use them in this way. I could use them to die cut some shapes. I do like a circle to sort of to frame other images. I don't know, it kind of draws the eye in, so I do tend to gravitate towards circular designs quite often. But as I say, these are the ones that are going to go into my stash for another time. So hope that you inspired to have a go at mixing some different mediums together on your gel plate, see what sort of abstract backgrounds that you can create, and then a couple of suggestions of, you know, what you can do with these prints once you've completed them. Obviously, if you've printed on a square or rectangular plate and have got a full sheet image, again, lots more that you can do with those as well. You can use them in this way. You can use them to create entire backgrounds. You can die cut, lots and lots of ideas just to add some more things into your arsenal of techniques for your gel plate. But as always, if you enjoyed this video, please leave me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.